back to the Team Empire podcast. I have another awesome guest on for you today, episode 59. It's a big one, but just first, our sponsor, Infinite Aesthetics, still sponsoring the pod since day one, so don't forget to jump in there and use our code EMPIRE to support the pod, and thanks to Infinite Aesthetics for supporting us too. Any other sponsors out there? We've had a few bites lately, so make sure you jump into my emails, shan@empirecoachingteam.com, and we'll talk about it further there. But now, my episode today, little sneaky, it's 30 weeks out from nationals today. So I was like, this is a cool episode to do with my girl, figure athlete, Jess Schofield. How are you, Jess?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Oh, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a long time coming, I feel.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm very excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we have so much to talk about because you and I are like friends. We have been talking about everything throughout our first seasons together. And there's lots to talk about, but how crazy is it that it's 30 weeks up from nationals today? Does it feel like it just finished?
It does. Like it genuinely feels like we only did it like maybe last month or something. It's like, wait, what? It's time to do this again? No.
It's so quick, man. That off season's short. They say it, and it's true, right?
So true. It just goes by like that.
And we'll talk about that. Actually, we'll start with that. So you did your first season last year. We're going to talk about all of that, how that all went for you and everything like that and what you're doing this year. But first of all, I just want to get out the way. Are you competing this year so we can run the rest of the conversation around what we're doing, you know? So are you going to compete this year?
I'm actually not going to compete this year. And the reason why is because coming out of the prep last year, I have been heavily focused on getting my hormonal health and, the health of my body back to a state where it allows me to have longevity in this sport. At the moment, it's still saying we're not ready, but that gives me an amazing opportunity to continue to grow and continue to work on it and get happy and healthy.
Yeah, that's it, babe. And it's not a bad thing to take a season off. Everyone freaks out, but it's a good thing. And if it's health related, like it's the right thing to do, right? You feel like it's a good choice.
Yes, I really do feel like it's a good choice. And, I don't think that it would do the sport any justice. It's bodybuilding, not body breaking. So,
Yeah.
we want our bodies to be able to sustain us through that. So I really would like to be able to help it to be in a good place to do that again.
Yeah, and a healthy body is a better physique at the end of the day, isn't it? It just shows
Oh,
like crazy. We know how it works.
oh gosh.
Okay, we'll jump into all of it. Don't you guys worry. We've got some stories for you, but we're going to do it all bit by bit as we go. The next thing we're going to talk about is the fact that we're both on the same team now, girl. We're both on the same victory. Obviously, we both had different coaches last season and different teams, and everything changes, and that's so fine. It's not always like, oh, why is everyone jump team? Sometimes it's just a better suit. So we're going to talk about all of that together. But how is Worthy of Victory going for you so far? When did you join with Frank? And tell us about your little journey into Worthy of Victory.
Yeah, so I actually met Kate and Frank quite a few years ago in Hamilton because I used to live down in Hamilton. And I've seen them around the traps for a long time. Like I've seen the community, I felt the community. I'm friends with a lot of them that are in the community as well. So it's not necessarily been something that's like, who are these people? But I joined Worthy of Victory in January. And it's just been absolutely phenomenal. Like as soon as I joined, straight into the community, into the girls chat, right? And everyone's just like, hi, welcome, and just so welcoming. It's wonderful. It's a very different style of coaching for me, but for me, it works really well.
Nice. Yeah. And are you into because you're not competing this year, you're into your build at the moment? Are you building right now? Are you in your deep off season?
Oh my gosh, yes. So along the trends of listening to podcasts, another one that I have been enjoying listening to is those which involve Meg Sylvester Chillin. And the way that she describes it for figure is you walk around feeling like a baby rhino. And I can attest to that. It's like it feels great. Like I feel strong and like I've definitely built and grown. But I definitely feel like I'm in my off season.
There's perks of it though, right? Isn't there? Like, I mean, yes, there's fluff, but yes, there's a winter coat where you can get through winter, and you can just get stronger, and it's fun, right?
Oh, it's so nice feeling strong and, just going in there and knowing that it's not going to be I have to drag myself through this. Instead, it's awesome. awesome. What have we got on the list today? Oh, great. I can really go full ham on this.
Well fed, she's got the food and the energy and ready to go. And it's just like a bit more exciting, isn't it? For
I
sure.
do love my food.
I feel you, girl. I feel you. Let's go into the deep stuff. So let's just dive. So obviously we had our season last. You had your season last year, first season. Now you're with Worthy of Victory. So what made you decide to switch coaches? What had you feeling like you needed to change?
Yeah. So I did a lot of reflection at the end of the show and the end of the season, and really thought about what's my communication style, what is it that I want and need in this aspect of my life. And throughout the shows, and you were there as well, right? You saw it, you felt it, the community that they have built and the culture that is at Worthy of Victory is just outstanding. And they were at every single show that they could physically get to, even though they were, they were unwell at one point, and yet they still showed up for their athletes. And I really respected that. And change can be really, really scary and uncomfortable. But for me, I was like, you know what? This looks like I already know them, and they're there. That support network is there. That looks like a bit of me. So what I also found is that what's important for me is, because I'm a bit of an A B C D equals D. No, I can't even talk right. Sorry, A B C equals D kind of thinker. I really like to be brought into the fold of decision making, and especially during prep. It can be really challenging when you don't know what's happening and why. And it's not necessarily a questioning of our coaches, because we know that they've dedicated time, resource. I mean, you're a coach yourself. You've put a lot of time and effort into building who you are as a credible source of knowledge that you can utilize for your clients. So it's never a question of, does my coach know enough?
Yeah.
It's, for me, a question of, what does this allow me to achieve? And so I really like to know, what are we doing? And what's the purpose of this? What's the intent of this decision? And so being brought into that fold is very important for me. And Frank really allows me to do that. And I think something that I really like about Frank's coaching style as well is that when I do ask about these sorts of questions, it's met with an eagerness to share, to empower. And it's like if you succeed, I succeed kind of vision.
Yeah.
And gosh, I could just keep going on and on and on about it. But one of the best pieces of advice that still sticks with me is, when it comes to our journey, we should always be at the helm of that journey. We should be at least a co-pilot of where we're going in the direction. And so that's a really important part of why I chose to go with Frank.
Oh, I love that. And that's so true. I can vouch for you on that, because I'm like, I'm there. We've been through that together, and it's so true. And it's just something that everyone needs to kind of like, you shouldn't be afraid to leave a coach and move to a different team. It's something that sometimes just has to happen, and it's about finding the right person. It's like a relationship. You don't always find your perfect man on the first pop, it's always going to take a couple of goes. So it's kind of like figuring out what's best for you. And coaches change and athletes change, and it's totally okay to switch. And I just want everyone else to know that, because a lot of people feel like they're a bit stuck or they feel guilty for leaving, and that's fair, and that's okay. It means you care, but it's okay to switch, and it's okay to move, and it's not a big scandal every time, and sometimes it's just okay to do what's best for you. And that's awesome, babe. I'm props to you. I'm proud of you for doing that. And look at you now, like, you're so happy and you've found the right fit. So that's like the big first step of any kind of prep, right? So smooth sailing, hopefully, from here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I just want to add to what you've just said, in that sense of, there is this loyalty that everybody really wants to be able to uphold. And it's not a reflection upon the coach that you've come from. It's just what works, like you said, what works for me, what is it that I would like moving forwards, and then finding the right fit. And I think that you put that beautifully. So yeah, I just wanted to add to that.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks, babe. It's an investment. It's a lot of money too. It's like you just got to really make sure you're spending it wisely, like anything else, right? What are you and Frank working on at the moment? Like you're in your off season, but physique wise, like what are your bits and pieces? What was your feedback if you can share? Tell us about what you're doing.
I'm laughing because the feedback that I got was, whilst it was incredible, and I'm incredibly grateful for Chris and the team, they really provided some very thorough feedback. And I was very proud because it was, you're definitely a figure, you're in the right division. And for me, I was like, yes, I'm a figure woman. But it was you, but bigger.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Yeah, gotcha. Right.
So mostly looking at size and density. And if I was to pinpoint locations, it would be hammies, delts, back, and glutes. So everywhere.
Well, that's fun. You get to go crazy in the gym. Like you don't have
Yeah,
to.
and I think that that's the most exciting thing is that it's not a, oh, you have to reduce the training here and do more here. It's just you get to go and have fun on everything. And so I'm happy as.
I love that because a lot of you probably see it as well. A lot of athletes they do get to the point of like they're almost perfect, and then they have to really hold back, or like it is a real tweaking thing. And I just feel like where you're at seems so much more fun. So like building season, baby, it's part of the fun. It's all part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, you see that a lot in the bikini division, these girls are lifting heavy weights. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't do that. And even with their shoulders, when it comes to doing upper body day, they are shifting some tin, but the amount of days a week that they would do is minimal, right? So I'm really grateful that I get 3 upper body days.
Yeah. You get like 1 or 2, and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
It's fun, right? You can do a lot with it, and it's just fun to train. It's just fun to train. It's part of the reason of how we all got into competing. So it's like being able to actually do it is the best part. I reckon it's really good. Talk about your first season, babe. So last year was your first season, 2023. Tell us maybe how many shows you did, and what if like maybe the better shows and maybe the shows you didn't enjoy so much. Like just maybe explain your shows to us from your first season.
Yeah, absolutely. So funny story was I set my goal as I want to do 1 show.
Oh my God. That didn't happen.
Instead, I did 4 shows. So we did Waikato's in September, 30th September, and that was at Putararu. Then I did 2 weeks later, I did New Zealand Naturals and New Zealand Nationals on the same day on the 14th of October.
Yep.
And then Mo's Muscles, and you were there as well in October, at the end of October. And that was so much fun for so many reasons. I have to say, though, that my favorite show was, for a number of reasons, was Waikato's.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think probably one of the reasons why was the nuance of it, right? Like, oh my, I didn't know what to expect. And you get the glam and you're like, oh my gosh, like, wow, is that me? Oh, that is me. Wow, okay, cool. Yeah, woo. But I loved my time on this stage. Like you couldn't stop me smiling. I loved it. And a big part of who I am came out. And a nickname is Calamity Jess. And for those who were in the audience, they would have seen it and they'll probably be laughing because I'm about to tell you about it now anyway. But I walked out on stage straight into the backboard.
Oh no, did you? I didn't see that at all. I was lining up. I didn't know. Oh, babe. Oh,
I was having the time of my life because, as you know, it was like, get ready, go.
straight out.
Bang, straight into the backboard.
Did you veer into it? Were you like kind of veering off to the side? Oh no.
Because I was looking at the front, so I wasn't really paying attention to where I was going, and it was just kind of like, oh, whoops, carry on.
Recover.
Yeah, but it just you know, it didn't stop me, and I just had a wonderful time. And I had so many of my friends show up from all over. You know, they'd driven hours. You know, Michelle came over from Hawke's Bay. You know, I had Marianne and Kieran who came over from Tauranga, and Tia. I had all of my friends from here in Auckland as well, and it was just phenomenal. And of course, Shay, who you can hear every time in the crowd. Thank goodness for that, though, because your girl's got some good cues and some good lungs.
You can always hear her. You can catch her in the crowd, right? It is perfect. Yeah. It's just what you need.
Good.
Coach. Yeah. So top you up, make you feel good, you know. And Waikato is like the biggest show of the year. Everyone knows that. It's the most popular. It's the biggest. It's always closest to nationals. It's always in a beautiful venue. It's always really well organized, all of that kind of thing. It's usually the most competitive. And you were up pretty quick. There was only a few physique girls. And then there was straight out to figure. I remember seeing you, we saw each other, we met each other, and then you're like, okay, I'm on. And it was like immediately, you didn't really have a lot of time. So did you feel like that was a good thing? Like you kind of just get there, you're in the buzz, and then you go? Do you think if you sat down all day and you were last, do you think that would have been harder to do?
Oh, yeah. So I think it's a bit of a double-edged sword, right? In the sense of I was in no way mentally prepared to go on stage. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh, okay, we've got to go. I remember I had dumbbells in my hand and I was running full tilt to the side of the stage, like pumping as we got. I just like shoved a handful of lollies in my face. I was like, oh, no, lift.
What do you mean?
Right. And so I think in that sense of the not having the time to overthink it, because I'm such an overthinker, you know, not having the time and the opportunity to overthink it was definitely, it worked in my favor. But in saying that, it would have been really nice to have had a little bit more time, a little bit more, you know, fluidity in the background to get to know people a little bit better. But on the flip side of that, having to wait until the end of the day, as I said, because I'm an overthinker, it could have really like wreaked havoc with how I got there. And I was like, oh.
It's crazy, but you did so well. Like all of you girls just got up there. Everyone said figure was just stunning. You guys all owned it to start the show, and it was just like that's so cool to hear, you know. And then the next one was 2 weeks later, and it was 2 shows back to back, huge shows, pro cards going out, natural nationals was there, all of it was going on. And I was front row watching, so I was still with you, but I was just, you know, not backstage.
Oh, I could hear you and see you. I could hear you and see you. It was great. It was so nice to see you, Frank and Kate, right there. It was wonderful.
Getting the little pics of you and stuff, but that would have been still just as hectic. But was it? Everyone said it was quite cool backstage. Talk to us about the day. Was it as crazy as you expected? And should people do it this year if they're thinking about it? Because it's on again. So, what do you think?
That is a really good question. If I had the opportunity, I would probably just stick to the one show again. But that's because to put it into perspective, the day before the show, my body decided it did not want to play ball at all. And I had a really bad inflammatory response to something. And I just felt so uncomfortable. But we still showed up and we were still able to bring an amazing package to the stage. So, you know, still glammed up, smiling, had the best time. And something I do want to call out is it was such an honor to stand on the stage with some of these women who had inspired me to get into figure in the first place. Like for me, that was just the epitome of the day, right? You know, Linda Carlisle and Michaela, like, oh my gosh, they brought it. Hey, good grief. And again, like Linda from Waikato's to nationals, just the difference. Yeah. But backstage was so much calmer. And I've forgotten his name, but the guy that was doing like the conducting in the background was
the usher guy. Carl, I can't, maybe it might be Carl. I can't remember, but yeah, he's great, right?
He was so friendly and kind, and you know, he tried so hard to make sure that everybody knew what was going on. And that was, again, because I'm an overthinker, it was so helpful. Like, these people are up next, and if you're in this group, get ready. It's like, okay, cool. I know what I'm doing.
It's helpful. And then you can just go to him if you need something. You're like, hey, help me out. And he's like, perfect. He's just great. They should keep forever. and protect him with your life because he's amazing. You guys might see him at shows. He's got like the staff on his back or whatever, and he's always running around really fast. So you might see him next time. So give him props, give him a high five or something. And then Mo's muscles. Okay, so Mo's was like chalk and cheese to the other two because we were there together. We had lots of time backstage. We were backstage at Waikato's together, but had zero time to get photos or even speak to each other, let alone do anything else. But Mo's was great. We took all the time in the world. We had you, me, and we had Rebecca. We had Holly from Worthy of Victory. We had a whole bunch of girls. What did you enjoy about that show? So it was obviously a bit more relaxed. It was more about the boys, but what did you enjoy about Mo's?
I think first and foremost, Mo himself.
Yeah.
Like the amount of effort and energy he put into that show, like as an athlete, you could feel it. Like every single athlete, and I've still got the box with like little bits and pieces, right? We all got our own extreme nutrition box full of goodies. I'm not talking about like little bits, I'm talking like full goodies, pre-workout, protein samples. We had a cap in there. I think there was a t-shirt. Like it was just amazing, right? Like, so that alone, I was like, wow. Then we got the tracksuits. Then when we did the registration, which also, wow, it just felt so prestigious.
Yeah.
The fact that it was, you know, you could see these pros, you know, they were all getting glazed, you know, the donut glazing. So seeing that level of dedication and what was achievable or is achievable was amazing. But I think the best part about it was just how wholesome backstage was. You know, it was just lovely. Everybody was helping everybody out. It didn't matter what category you were in. It didn't matter what time of the day you were on. It was, hey, do you want to borrow this dumbbell? Hey, do you want to try this? Hey, do you want a lolly? Hey, let's get a group picture. Like, just so lovely. I really enjoyed that atmosphere.
It was so nice. And we all got a group pic, all the girls. So figured
Yes.
all of us got a picture together. And like that doesn't happen often because there's usually too many girls and everyone's crazy. But it was just so nice to be able to do that with the girls and actually spend some time together and stuff. So if anyone's thinking about doing Mo's Muscles this year, highly recommended from both of us. We definitely both think you should do it. Plus, you qualify for the next year's nationals, so you can have a whole off season, no regionals required. So I'm pretty sure he's doing that again this year. So good one to jump into, girls. Or if you just have nationals comes around and maybe you didn't feel like you gave it at all, or something happened, you know, just shit happens in prep. We all know this. Maybe jump into Mo's and just give it that. Yeah, this is maybe just give it that one more chance. And that's I did the same. Like I need that time, so it's just good to do. It's worth the effort, guys. What's So yeah, so what part of prep did you find the most challenging? So there's probably a few things, but was there any part of prep in terms of like time frames that you found most challenging? Like peak week, did you hate peak week, or was it like 10 weeks out? You know how you're like, oh, there's so far to go, but also not so far. Like, was there a mindfuck kind of time during prep that really got you a bit?
Yeah. Lots of different stages for lots of different reasons. And it's really hard to pinpoint to say this was the hardest part of prep. I think as a whole, describing it to somebody, it's the hardest thing you will ever do because you've never done it before as a new timer, I should say, right? So you've not you just don't know what to expect, and I think the nuance of that can be, especially for someone like me who thinks, you know, it's A plus B plus C, you know, this is really not.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, exactly. And being able to adjust and be agile is a very important part of prep, I would say. But I think if I had to pinpoint a couple of things that I found most challenging, I'd probably got about three things. One was probably about, dare I say it, 15 weeks out, because it was, oh my gosh, I've still got 15 weeks to go. Good grief. Like my calories were already low, and I was like, 15 weeks, oof, what's gonna happen? You know, and whilst I felt great in the gym and we were, you know, we still had really good numbers of lifts and stuff, which was really good, it was still like, you know, 15 weeks, good grief. Then I would say probably in the last month, like, oh, I remember just feeling so low energy that even going on walks just felt like you were walking through tar. You know, I was sat on the edge of a hamstring curl machine and I just cried between sets. I was just like, I've still got to do another 3 supersets.
Oh,
Ow. And then you just kind of go, nah, do
yeah.
it, you know. And then probably the third thing, which wasn't necessarily a time frame, but as an experience of prep, was food intolerances. You know,
Oh, yeah, that's
yeah.
a spoken thing. People don't talk about this as much as they should, but it happens. It happens.
Oh, 100%. And so, coming from a lifestyle plan where, the options and the variety is really broad, right? And, you've got a lot of flexibility in there to coming into a comp prep diet, dare I say. And it becomes a lot more restricted. Um, and I became a lot more intolerant to foods that I had previously been eating on the regular. So something for me that really tripped me up for a long time, which caused quite a lot of challenge for me along the way, believe it or not, is orange kumara.
Oh, get out of it. No, we love
So
it.
it turns out that kumara's got long, I believe, and I'm sure that someone can correct me if I'm wrong, and please do, because I am by no means an expert. But it's got long carbohydrate chains. So it's difficult or more challenging for certain people, like Muggins here, to break down those carbohydrate chains.
Yeah.
And so massive bloating and a lot of discomfort. And I was like, why am I holding on to so much water? Like, what? My weight's not dropping. The calories are like, what are we doing? It took, and I have to give all credit to my friend Josh, who's at Les Mill in Hamilton. He's part of the elite muscle team, so shout out to him. It had an amazing conversation with Josh to go, actually, you could actually be intolerant to this. So, maybe try changing your carbohydrate source. So it wasn't that we changed the plan at all, because it was still the same amount of carbohydrates. It was just a different source of carbohydrates. Problem solved.
Done. Wow.
Mad. Absolutely mad.
How's your diet and your bloating, digestion stuff now? Are you kind of good?
Um, Honestly, we're still getting there. And I think that that's got a lot to do with just how restrictive and how intense
Yeah.
my prep was. It really was very restrictive. And so coming out the end of that, it's like there's this wonderful, again, a podcast, Bikini and the Brain. I don't know if you know of them. Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. And they talk about this pendulum of balance, in the sense of, if you do a really extreme prep, then the other side of it is likely going to be also very extreme. And no amount of preparation mentally is going to get you ready to face that. So I think a lot of it's to do with the stress that came with it. We are in such a better space though. And just recently, as you commented on, I'm so touched by that as well. Uplifting. I'm at the highest calories I've ever been,
Yes, girl.
which in of itself for me is such a celebration.
Yeah.
And weight's going down.
Body when it's happy, it does.
Which just goes,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So do oh gosh, I can't even remember the original question here, because we just went on a tangent, because both of us talk until we're blue in the face.
We do it. We do that, don't we?
um, that's right. Digestion and intolerances. Yes, that's the one. So yes, I think coming out the end of it, we're in a much better space now, and this is definitely the time to figure out what can I have and to what amount can I have it. During prep is not the time to start investigating.
No, but it takes a while, doesn't it? And so coming out of that, it's going to take like you said, you've been with Frank 3 months. It's not even long enough to really like get things settled or move things in a different direction. But it's nice to know that you're in a better place, and you're feeling more energized and you're getting there with the process. That's what it's all about, It's just taking those steps.
And just again to add to that, I cannot thank him enough for helping me to feel this way, and not just in a physical sense, but mentally, and being able to really come back to a version. Obviously, we continuously grow and evolve, the type of versions that we become, but to come back to a version of who I am that I really missed in prep. So in that sense, thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. We love you. It's the Frank episode. No, it's not, but he's in there, of course, because we love him. Let's talk about posing for a sec, because posing is a great one to talk about. So obviously, Shay is still your pose coach.
Yes. Yes, you can't get rid of me.
Good. We want to keep you guys together. You're a great match. We want to see that go continue on. And we all love Shay, don't we? The whole pod loves Shay. How's posing going? Do you pose through your off season? Do you still like do a little bit of this and that here and there? How's your posing going at the moment?
Yeah, so still very much with Shay. I haven't had a posing session with her since the end of the season, but I do send her some photos and some videos from time to time, and she's always so encouraging. I love posing with Shay. She has taught me so much along the way, and all credit due, because something that I really love about her style of coaching is she doesn't want you to fit into a box. She is so encouraging of you using posing to express who you are. So when I came into posing, I was like, I would watch, oh gosh, who would I watch? I would watch like Sid Gillen and Jean Cassell, I think her name is. I had no idea that where these women were along their journey in bodybuilding. Turns out they're but the way that they would walk and hold themselves was just so beautiful. And so I was like, do you know what? I really want to incorporate some of these other styles. You see bikini and you see wellness posing, and it can be very different from figure. But I love the posing. And I'm like, oh, I kind of want to do that, but I'm in figure. The great thing about Shay is she's like, well, if you love that, it's going to show, and that's who you are. So let's bring that out. How do we do that? Something that she and I call the figure sandwich.
I love that. Oh, that's cool. But if
So we do walk, 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 figure pose, and then what's a pose that you really like? Oh, I like this one. Okay, so do that one. And then walk, 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 figure pose. And then what's another pose you like? I like this one. Okay, so do that.
As long as you've got the mandatories in, you're sweet. Comparisons, that's all you need to do, Like, why not? I think it's cool. And some of the figure girls, like you said, the big girls on Olympia stage and that, and their posing is incredible. And you can definitely see style on them. Like, it's not everyone's doing the same thing. You can definitely tell, especially if you're watching closely. A lot of the bikini girls might be like, oh, there's not much to it, because it does look very much like streamlined compared to bikini all this stuff, but it's nice when you can pick these little unique pieces out of their posing, and it's beautiful to see. I love watching figure. It just gets me fired up, and I'm just like, want to go to the gym, because I'm like, oh, but it's so good to see. Do you have any challenges with your posing? Are you like, my back pose, my front, is there any bits that you're just like, oh, that's a little tricky, or just the shoes, like anything like that?
So when I first said I wanted to do a show, it was, you could either do bikini or figure, and bear with me. There's an end to this story. And I'd seen a lot of figure women. I was like, do you know what? I really want to be strong and look like that. Little did I know that obviously if you do bikini, you're probably going to be just as, if not stronger. So all credit due to the bikini women, right? But I was like, I want to kind of look like that. So let's go that way. And the premise was, we can do this, but you're likely going to be the smallest woman on stage. There will be some veteran bad on stage who have been doing this for a long time. So be aware, your size, because you haven't dedicated enough time to grow to really bring a big figure package. So it's like, okay, so what do we need to do? We need to condition down. We need to get your conditioning like absolutely nailed. So that's the route that we went down. But because I was small, figure posing for me as a whole, challenging. Really, really challenging, because you've got your mandatories and you can't hide if you're small in mandatories. You go into your front pose and it's like, oh, you see the likes of Nikayla and her delts, and you see mine, and it's like, oh, cute. Yeah.
Oh,
But but there's no hiding. But I think that that's right and fair, because at the end of the day, it just gives you the opportunity to go, okay, so this woman here has worked on all of these elements. Here you've got all of this opportunity to keep growing, so do that. But yeah, so I really struggle with mandatories. We're getting there though. We're definitely growing, and Frank is very happy with how we are building the density, because that was some of the feedback that we got, was to grow size and density. So we're definitely getting there. But that is a constant work on.
yeah.
Constant.
Are the poses, sorry, for figure quite challenging to hold on stage? Because like I know you would have seen, like, obviously with bikini and wellness as well, and all the other physique and all of the other women's divisions, but some appear easier than others, but figure, I feel, and physique would be the hardest to hold on stage. Is there a lot of like tensing? Do you sweat a lot? Do you feel like you're gassed at the end of your posing?
Yeah. Yeah. So a number of times during posing practice with Shay, my legs and my calves just cramped, just holding on so tightly. And the number of times that we took videos, and then we were just laughing, pissing ourselves, because we could see, oh, there it goes, and then all of a sudden you're like, ah, it's like, please don't do this on stage, please don't do this on stage.
Or just up.
Yeah. So I would say it's definitely a challenge to hold. And like, coming from a bikini athlete, you will know what it's like to have to hold positions for a long time. And because there were so many of you, it's not just a matter of, okay, turn, turn, turn. Yeah. It's like, hold, right?
Yeah.
So in that sense,
yeah,
holding for a long time, it's challenging. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. I think people would see it if they're uneducated on the sport as well, and just be like, oh, that doesn't look like, especially bikini, they'll be like, oh, they're just standing like this, but I also think the more muscle, the harder it is. So that's why I'm like, figure, but physique, like I feel like you're getting, because you've got so much size plus so much conditioning, like there's just so much more to you know what I mean? So surely holding all that muscle will just be like, oh, just gas you out. But you do a great job of it, babe. You look amazing on the stage. It was beautiful. And we're going to move on to your suit next, because that was stunning too. I think that color was so perfect for you. And if anyone hasn't seen it yet, check the cover of the pod, because she's right there. And it's green and it's stunning. So tell us about your suit. Did you pick that suit? Where did you get it? Do you love it? What do you think you might have the same color next time? Talk about your suit for a bit.
Oh, so I went with Accentuate.
Nice.
And I was flitting between blues and greens and that kind of peacock color, I guess. You could call it. And then I just kept seeing green come up on my Instagram feed, right? And because we're on there all the time, particularly because we're so food focused, right? And it's like, oh, food.
Yes. Okay.
It would be like food, suit, posing, food, suit. So green kept coming up, and I loved it. But I didn't want to go like full forest green. I wanted something a little bit different. And so we kind of went with Medusa green.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of got like some purple gems and some green in there. And oh, I loved it. It was stunning. She did such an amazing job.
You did so much, and your hair and everything, your tan was great. It just looked amazing, babe. It all come together really nicely. Did you just get the IFBB tan?
I actually didn't know. I got Sunspired tan. Is that right?
Yeah. Sunspired is top tier. So if anyone needs them, they're amazing, but they just book up quick, don't they?
Not only that, but just like they are hype women in the back as well. Like, oh my gosh, you look so good, and you're gonna do amazing, and oh my gosh, like, wow, I've been following your journey, and you're doing this. Like, oh, it's so lovely. And massive shout out to them and to Artistry by Alice, because she did my makeup for Waikato's, and oh my God, I have never felt so beautiful in my life. And I was just like, that's me. Oh,
It's you looking like that. Wow. So who was that one? Sorry, who was your makeup artist for the first one for Waikato?
so her name is Alice, and it's Artistry by Alice. And I highly recommend. Not only is she amazing at makeup, but she is such a gorgeous soul as well.
Love that. And who did you have for the other shows for your makeup?
Yeah, so I actually followed in your suit from Waikato's, and I went with Vaish Creates. She did an amazing, like I've done all of the shows that I've done. I have to say the makeup was amazing. All of the makeup artists were amazing. So it's not like one was better
Yeah.
than the other. They're all really good.
Yeah.
So I had Vaish Creates, and then I also had Makeup by Chili.
Oh
I
my.
had a really interesting experience with naturals and nationals the week before, and I had booked my makeup. Unfortunately, the makeup artist had an amazing opportunity and had to cancel. So, and again, massive shout out to Kate, because she put
Yeah.
up a story like, hey, like, is there any makeup artists that are free? And then it was Makeup by Kendall, who said, I've got someone that's coming with me as part of the team. She's amazing. And oh, thank goodness. Yeah.
Amazing. That's so good. And all the girls out there as well should probably start thinking about booking this stuff in. If you haven't already, like it's time to do it. And I know it seems so far away, but if you want the good people in the country that are really like we just explained and that you've just mentioned, then you have to book it now. And Vaish was amazing. She might not be here throughout the whole season, so make sure you get onto her now. And any of the other girls, Makeup I Can, all of them. And if you need any names, just message me and I'll send you through the Instagram names of the people that we've just mentioned there. So you can hook up with them now. Get yourself booked in for everything. Book in everything now. Don't stress me out. Let's talk about your mental health, babe. How's your mental health been since the show? So obviously we have a journey. It's not going to be just like linear or anything like that at all. But how has it been? Are you improved? Are you feeling good now? Are you in a good place? How's it all going?
Yeah. So post show was really challenging. And the number of times that people say, prepare yourself, prepare yourself, prepare yourself. No amount of preparation can help you if you're that way inclined. And I because I'm an overthinker and a perfectionist as well. I got to the level of, dare I say it, obsession in my prep. And it was really hard. It was very isolating. I did this to myself, right? So very isolating. And I found it extraordinarily hard to spend time with friends and family. Like it was so challenging. And so out the end of it, because I had put absolutely everything of myself into this prep, even though it was my first show, like what are you thinking? Like it's your first show, come on. But because I put absolutely everything in, it meant I had nothing left come the end of it. And so I was exhausted, I was tired, I was in a space where I didn't even want to train, unfortunately. So it took a lot of care and patience coming out of prep, and a lot of support, and building myself back up. And again, credit due to my friends who have been incredibly patient, my family who have been incredibly loving, and just have given me the space and the time to come back. I say back, but to progress.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm now in a space where I feel a lot more myself. Something that was kind of heartbreaking and at the same time wonderful to hear. One of my closest friends, Ange, refers to me as Crazy Jess, and you hear her before you see her type thing, right? And we were catching up with friends because our friend just gave birth to her baby girl, Emmy. And we were catching up all together. And I remember being on the swings playing with Parker, and I was just like laughing my head off. And she was like, Crazy Jess is back. It's just
Oh,
like, I'm
oh.
back. Yeah.
Yeah, that what a moment too. It's just like a little thing you'll remember, isn't it? That's so lovely. What do you think you might do different next season? Obviously, there's a lot of different things. You've got a different team, you've got a whole different probably support system. Like everyone knows what you're going to go through this time because you've done it before now. But is there anything you'll do to protect your mental health on the next journey, do you think? Or do you think you might just go into it knowing more?
I think a bit of both. I think the expectation of what is it going to feel like. Um, Although in saying that, it would probably be very, very different now. If I did a prep now, it would be completely different, because I'm at a very different starting point. When I started prep, I was already very little.
Mm.
And I hadn't given my body the time to grow. I was just like, let's go, without really thinking about the fact that I hadn't grown very much. So, that's on me, absolutely. Um, Coming into, if I were to do a prep now, it would feel very different, I think. And then obviously, the calories are already really high that I don't think we'd ever have to get that low ever again. So that's one thing that would be different. But what would I do differently? I guess actually, no, I think I would employ the same sorts of techniques, like having that group. I had, as you know, Livy, Lily, and Michelle, and we were all in the same group, and we would just fire off messages all the time, like, "Am I crazy? But this is happening to me, and I'm thinking like this, and I'm feeling this, and is this normal?" So being able to have that honesty and openness with people who are on the same journey as you, I think so important, and I would employ that technique again. But something that I would do differently is ask for help sooner. I'd say to my friends, I'm getting a little bit choked up. I'm really struggling, and
Yeah.
I can't, like, I feel like I'm isolating myself. I'd really appreciate some help. What that might look like, I don't know. Whether or not it's just coming and sitting with me, or going for a walk together to get my steps in, or being able to help get out of that obsessive state and more into this should be a lifestyle, this should be for longevity, this should be for fun. Like, why are we doing this? It
Um,
should be for fun. So I would probably look at asking for help sooner. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good one, babe. It's something we all like, especially as athletes, we're all really tough and we all like to just do it on our own and just get ourselves through it. But it's important to just ask, even if it's just a small amount of, like you said, is someone coming and sitting with you for an hour, like it can change the whole game for you, right? Mentally. And just even admitting that we're struggling is always a really hard one. I feel like that's huge for a lot of us. It's just like you have to admit a little bit of defeat, but it's not defeat, it's just a step that you need a little bit more help to reach the next level, sort of thing like that. So I love that you're in a good place now. That's positive, babe. And now you know all of this to go into your next season, or to help others if they come to you and say, hey, it's my first season. There are a lot of people out there that do their first season not ready, and that's fine. Some people want to do it to see if the stage is for them. Like, is this whole journey for me? Like, do I like bodybuilding or not? And that's okay to do it like that and not be ready and be like myself. I was too small. Like, all of that sort of stuff is okay to jump in, see how you like it. But just know it's a sport where you're up against the best and huge girls and girls that are shredded and been doing this for years and coming for their pro card. And you might have the post-show blues. Don't fire your coach after the finish day, after the last day. All of these things, there's a lot of to go through, right? So I'd say listen to all of my episodes and then decide. Because right,
that's what I did, right? Like, throughout my prep, I just listened to your podcasts. So I listened to you and Shay, I listened to you and Frank, to Mel, to G Patch, to Kate, like all of you guys. And it was so helpful hearing these inside nuggets.
in your opinion,
It's
hey.
not talked about much. And so to have a really great podcast like this, where you do get these insights, I think is incredibly valuable. So all credit to you, babe. Like, thank you.
So my guests, I just get them on and they can share it. They share a lot, don't they? They tell us all about how it works, and I think it's really cool that how open they've been. It's been awesome to see our athletes just open up. First time we've had a podcast like this in the country, and everyone's been pretty open to share. And the only people I haven't had on, if I've reached out and they've said no, the only reason I've ever been told no is because of mental health, and that's 100% okay on my end. No one said no, I don't like your pod, or no, I don't want to be I don't want to share my views, or any of that stuff, which I'd be okay with as well. But that it's been so great to have everybody on, and what a community that we've been managing to build. So hopefully it just keeps going in the right area. We're going in the right way, so we'll keep it going. This is a good question. We talked about this before, but let's say you become a pro and hypothetical world we're going in here, but who knows? And you're going for your first pro show. What pro show would you pick if you could pick any in the world, international, all over the place? Would there be any favorites of yours that you'd like to do?
Yes, 100%. I would go with the Two Bros show in the UK. Mostly because my family are there. Like, it would be amazing for them to be able to see what I do and, be along there for the ride, like, because it is such a ride, right? But more so than that, one of the women that really inspires me, not just because of what she's achieved, but because of the way that she approaches bodybuilding, the way that she has had her journey and approaches training. My God, just watching some of her training videos, it would fire me up. And I was like, I'm not training hard enough. I have got to go harder. Is Meg Sylvester Chillin, right? And so she's obviously an IFBB pro. To be anywhere near her.
In the same oh, that would be amazing. How cool. And I've got a favorite bikini girl from UK. I feel like the UK doesn't get enough attention. Like, the Arnold's getting better every year and all that kind of thing, but I feel like the UK's got so much potential that is just not out there enough. Like, Phoebe Hagen's one of my favorite bikini athletes, but also there's a chick called, I don't know if you know, but her name's Marnie, and she's called Marnie Fit. She's a UK bikini athlete. She's a short little class A girl, and she became pro when she did the Two Bros. And I watched the whole thing, and she's just beautiful to watch. These are some people online that are really, really good to watch, right? Like, I think we've both found a couple of ours, like Meg. And if anyone of my bikini girls want to see Marnie, like, just go and check them out. They're fun to watch, and pump up the UK. So they've got they're underrated. I feel very underrated, but it's been good. Did you watch the Arnold UK at all? Or did you catch any little pieces of that?
Honestly, no, I didn't.
I love it. It's fine. You can always see it on Instagram anyway. It's always up there. You can always catch all the little pieces, but I just work from home, so I always have little bits on over there. So it was cool to watch. But yeah, Two Bros. I love it. Let's all watch it this year, because they do free live streams too. So it was worth a check out. On that note though, who inspires you both in bodybuilding, but just also in life? Like, just someone that you're just like, that person's great as a person, I'd like to be more like them, or anything like that. Any sort of inspiration.
I take a lot of inspiration from a lot of different people for different reasons. So it could be, their approach to training. It could be their approach to life, to health and fitness. Oh my gosh, it's really hard to say. Hey, I would say that Meg is definitely up there. Shay is a huge inspiration for me, and she's been there from, let's be honest, pretty much day one of my journey, which has been phenomenal. And my mum. So my mum and my dad were supposed to come out to New Zealand in January, right? And the week before, she slips and she breaks her wrist. Yes, unfortunately, she couldn't come. First thing she says, how am I going to get to the gym?
Oh no, like mother, like daughter.
But she's got such a great work ethic. And, she was in a cast at the gym, still training.
Oh,
I'm just, oh yeah. So, just she's such a weapon, and I love it. And I love seeing her thrive and the way that she approaches things as well. So she's definitely an inspiration for me. And well, her and dad, right? They just keep at it regardless of what's going on. They just keep at it, and it's just amazing. But otherwise, there's other people that do inspire me, like Jordan and Harry. Those two are phenomenal inspiration for, I think, a lot in the community. And who else? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, yes, the OG.
Yeah. Something that I love about that Netflix series as well, I have to say, is something that I learned, or the way that he approaches or talks about it, which is he's not a self-made man. And I respect that so much, because none of us are self-made, right? It takes an army. And all credit to everybody that has helped us along the way, right? Just, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, go Arnie. He's still kicking it. He's still at all the Arnie shows, handing out the award. Like, he's great. He's so good. Imagine going to one of those shows one day, meeting him. That'd be
Oh,
like,
oh.
one day, okay, we'll get there. The day that Kate gets on the Arnold stage, which could be this year, like literally could be this year,
Yeah.
we'll be over there. And Jasmine and Wellness, all the girls and everyone can be. Who knows? I'd love to get over there one day anyway, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. What
Mm.
shows do you think you might go and watch this year in New Zealand? Do you think you'll watch any of the regionals, nationals? What do you think you'll get to this year?
Yeah, I would love to. So there's a couple of shows that I'd really like to go and see. I'd love to watch some of the Auckland ones. I'd love to go to the Waikato. And I really want to watch our girl Michelle when she is here in New Zealand, and she does a show here in New Zealand, because obviously she's going across to Australia, which is
Yeah.
epic. Can't quite do that one. But when she does a show here, I want to be front row yelling her name, because she came to the Waikatos to watch me and was there throughout my journey and was such a rock.
Yeah.
Um, well, I mean, the girls were, Livy was as well, and same with Lily. It was just amazing. But yeah, so I definitely want to be there for her show, because oh gosh, she's gonna bring the house down.
Oh my God, yeah. I think she said, did she say Tauranga? I think she said Tauranga, and I think it's not the same weekend as our nationals this year, so we can
Nah.
all get to ICN nationals. I don't care who you are. I don't care how biased you are. If anyone's biased, it would be me. And I will be going to watch because it's a pro show too. It's not just an ICN show, it's a pro show for ICN, which doesn't happen in New Zealand very often. So I think we should all take the moment, take the holiday, go down to the mount, go to the beach, watch a pro show and see how Michelle take the crown. It'll be so good to see her get it. And I think she's got a good chance. I reckon anyway, but we'll see. What are your long-term goals, babe, with competing? Do you have a vision, or are you just kind of taking it year by year and seeing how you go? Do you want to go pro? Like, what are your thoughts on what you
So to be completely honest, at the moment, it is how can I make this sort of a lifestyle sustainable? So that's really focusing in on my health and my body, and really listening to, is it going to be ready to compete again? When might that be? We don't know. But just finding the joy in it, and just sitting in that is what I really want to be able to do. Of course, I would love to compete again. I really would. And I would, as we've talked about, it would be such a different experience. And I want to experience that, right? But what that looks like in terms of when, I don't know. And that's okay.
part of it, isn't it? It's the beauty of it. We don't know until we're there, and then we get to do it. So it's fine. It's kind of like you have to be in it for the long haul, or it might not happen. It's not a short-term game, but I love that. We'll see. We'll keep tuned. We'll stay locked, and we'll find out what you do next when you get to that. No pressure. You just do your thing there. What's your favorite and your least favorite things about competing? Do you have like something that lights you up, and then something like, I really just don't like this part of it?
Hmm. Oh, that's tricky.
Yeah, to pick one, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
just something, like might not be the best thing, but it may be just one of your favorite things.
Mm, well,
There's so many things, hey, like seeing your physique change, it's a good one.
um, I think for probably a favorite thing is more of a learning, which is, every single day that you show up, even though you don't feel like it, especially on the days when you don't feel like it, when you've done it, it's like that sense of achievement of, I've made a really good investment here. And it's just like the little things, and it's just like slowly adding. You might not see it in a wee while, but that you've done well. And I love that. Hey, like that long-term investment game. Love that. Worst thing, the lack of food.
I knew it. I was gonna say the same. All the low
Yeah,
calories.
yeah, yeah. And
Low carb.
the food obsession.
Yeah,
Like,
we get real.
oh,
That's all you think about. That's all you think about.
yeah.
I can't think of anything, Liz. Yeah, so that makes sense. That makes sense. And anyone that's campaigning for the first time this year, get ready for that part because it's not easy, but it's so good. Like you said, you get through it. You're in the gym and you're like, I want to go home. I've got nothing left. I'm so gassed. I want to cry. I don't want to fucking be here. I'm so angry at everything, but I can't. I don't have energy. And you get through that workout somehow and you leave and you're like, I'm a fucking boss. Like you actually feel so good because it adds up. You've done that every day. And then you've got to go back for cardio and do it again. And then you did that. And it's like, and then you gotta eat all your, like there's so many things to tick off, and ticking things off does so much more for our mental health than I think we give credit for, which is why to-do lists are essential, everybody. But also just getting things done, right? Just getting things done makes you feel good inside. And so I think it's something that's a little underrated. But speaking of,
oh, sorry.
Did you have something to add on that? Because
I was just going to say, like, I was super fortunate. I did not have to do, other than walking, any cardio.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah. I did none. So all I did was walk and train.
I love that. You and Michelle did the same thing. Michelle didn't do any cardio either. I'm like, how are you figure girls so conditioned? I love it. Good on you guys. Wow.
So, I mean, for you women in bikini and wellness, when it's like, you know, you're having to do your Stairmaster or your cardio every day on top of that train, I take my hat off to you. I don't know how you did it because I struggled. Like I said, I was on the hamstring kill machine going, oh, I don't want to be here.
Yeah, 100%. And I hate cardio. Oh. But it's all right because again, you show yourself you can do it and then you feel good about it. So it's all part of it, isn't it? But it's all part of it. I love it that you just didn't have to do cardio. That's amazing, especially with low calories. I don't know if, you know, it's hard to get through, isn't it? So it's good. But next time, you never know what Frank's going to give you.
Who knows? Hopefully I get to keep the bread because I love the bread.
Usually we do get to keep the bread in WOV. As long as it's good for your digestion, Frank usually keeps it for us. Girls were eating bagels on show day and looked amazing, so fuck knows. But it works. Who knows? I'll take it. What is your current diet looking like at the moment? Are you, because I know you're on your highest calories, are you tracking to your calorie target? Have you got a meal plan? What does your diet look like just at the moment?
Yeah, so it's obviously high cal, but so post-show I did, I went and got some blood work done to check where my hormones were at, and to put it lightly, utterly shot, to the point of it was indicating that I was menopausal type bad. So we have had to do a lot of work to, you know, make my body a lot healthier for hormones to come back. So it's lots of really good, delicious fats, and high carb.
We'll take it.
Yeah. And so the doctors have said, you know, keep pushing if you can, keep pushing the carbohydrates up, and, you know, really make an environment for your body to go, oh, sweet, we can keep producing these hormones now. So loving that. Obviously the protein is high too, because we want to build and grow, and protein's so important. But yeah, it's up there. It's I think what I like about the plans that I've been on previously and now, is that whilst yes, there are targets for calories and macros, it is but the options that you choose are up to you. You know, you can put this however you want, but here's what you're looking for. And I really like that. It's lovely because it gives you some form of control, it gives you that ability to kind of steer where I want to go.
Yeah, be more flexible with your diet, which we don't get in prep, hey, so it's nice to have that now. You can enjoy some foods.
Like our wrap pizzas.
We love them wrap pizzas. You and I are like little fiends. I had one last night. I'm so bad. I love it. I just can't have them too late in the evening because it's so much, like, it feels like a lot more food, but it's not. But I love them. It's so good. It's so nice to be healthy and well fed, right?
Yeah.
I love it. What's your, in terms of training, what is your favorite muscle group to train at the moment? Like, I know you're building certain areas, but what's your favorite day?
Back.
Back day.
Back. I love back day. All day, every day. If I could do it, I would.
How many back days do you, because you've got 3 uppers, is back involved in like 2 of them, or is it like 1 back day and then 2 uppers, like different uppers?
So I get 1 full dedicated back day, which is tomorrow, and I'm very excited. And the 2 other upper days are working mostly on shoulders. So, like I said, building the delts. You know, I had a fantastic session with Frank recently, and we discovered that I'm very front dominant. So it's about building, you know, the back part of my delt as well and bringing that up. So whilst back day is one as a whole, the other upper body days are focusing on rear delts, shoulders, and I get a little bit of chest, a little bit of tries, and a little bit of buys.
Nice. I was going to ask you that next. So, like, do you train chest at all? Because not a lot of us athletes do in like the wellness or the bikini. It's not so much about the chest, but I was wondering if you got a little bit in there. But it's fun to do a bit of pushing from the chest. Hey, do you enjoy it?
Love it. I love bench. Like I'm there, like with the dumbbells, like how am I gonna get this into this right position? I don't know. And then you're done, and you're like, I can't get up. But that was fun.
That was good. Yeah, I got it. And you don't do it often enough to really get the whole, like, you know, the whole rack up, you know. But it's fun to do. What about abs? Do you ever train abs?
Yeah. So Frank's probably going to tell me off now because I'm going to admit something. So he was like, "Oh, you don't need to do abs." I love doing a little mini ab circuit from time to time. I love it. It's so much fun. So I'll do it maybe a couple of times a week. But otherwise,
Yeah, not really. Yeah.
with lower body and with any training that we do, if we're not stabilizing our core and we're not using it, then how are we getting the most effective movement pattern? We're probably not. So we're constantly using our core. Yeah.
So it's getting worked, isn't it? It's just not like isolated work, is it?
Yeah.
And it's not getting worked, guys, if you're wearing your belt around the gym 24/7. I always love seeing that. I'm like, everyone's wearing their belt from start to finish, from the warm up to the cardio. I'm like, you don't need it in the middle. Use your core sometimes, like just sometimes. But that's funny. Some people that might not know, we don't train a lot of abs, bodybuilders. Not most of us don't. I don't know about the men's side of things, which they probably do. But the women's side are told not to bulk up the core too much, which is interesting for some people to know, but it's fine. We're doing a little bit here and there, aren't we? It's okay. Frank, it's fine. It's all good. We're looking good. Don't tell us off. And that's pretty much it, babe. We've got to the end. I was going to ask you the next question, and I was like, there's no more question there. But I think we touched on everything. If I missed anything that you would like to talk about at all, or that you would like to share from your season or anything like that?
I think
I miss any questions? Because sometimes I do that. And people are like, you didn't ask me about this. I'm like,
so I think the only other thing that I'd like to do is do a little bit of a shout out to Sugar Babes, who did my post-show treats.
Yeah. And any sponsors you have, do all of the shout outs now, because everyone loves this stuff. They like recommendations from people that have used these people. So share everything you've got there, babe. Give it to us.
I don't have any sponsors, and I'm not.
How is like Taylor doesn't respond? Jasmine, like no one's got sponsors. What are we doing here, people? I need to write letters because this is okay.
I haven't, like, to me, I'm just very, I don't know, like, I'm like, cool.
Yeah. I just enjoy things and I just tell people anyway.
Well, exactly. Like, and I really like hearing what works for other people. And so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go and have a look at that and look at this. But yeah, no sponsors. But I would like to shout out to Sugar Babes, who did my post-show treats. So that's Livy down in Tokoroa. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of treats does she make?
The best. So she does these phenomenal stuffed cookies. She does caramel slice. That's my favorite.
Yum, caramel slice all day.
She does like cookie pie, but then they also do like brownies and cakes, and they do it for all sorts. It's amazing. Yeah.
Okay, where do we find them? On Instagram, probably?
Yes, on Instagram. Yeah.
Go check them out, guys. Oh, has to be done.
Yes. And then Elite Muscle, because Josh, who helped me a lot in prep at Les Mill, I just want to say thank you to him and, you know, the business that he's got there, Elite Muscle. They do some fantastic pieces of equipment as well, in terms of like wrist wraps, straps, t-shirts, things like that. But yeah, they've got such a great mindset around how to approach training as well.
Oh, cool. Go check them out too, guys. It's always good just to pump each other up, you know. There's a little, oh, actually, I might just talk about one more thing before I let you go. You'll know this as well. I did a little rant on my story this morning about competitiveness between women. I'm not going to dive you into it too deep. She's like, what do I have to say? What do I have to say? But it was just about women just looking at each other and having just, I mean, you know, we all know, because I've had it in the past, especially when I was like high school, you feel these feelings. You look at other women and you're like, there's a problem here, or I have an insecurity about you, or I'm threatened, or whatever it might be. We all know what I'm talking about, competitiveness between women. We get on the stage and competing against each other in the sport, but I've seen the least amount of that in the sport. I see it more in the everyday life. How have you seen any of that in the sport, or is the sport being nothing but uplifting for you? How would you respond if someone was like that in that space? But we haven't seen a lot of it though, have we?
No, like
Oh,
I've seen none of that. And if anything, the complete opposite. I've seen, you know, and the probably a motto that I would say is really demonstrated throughout the community is when you succeed, I succeed. And for women and men in this community, it is very much like that. Yeah, I really haven't come across that competitive nastiness, I
yeah,
suppose.
yeah.
Yeah, no, not at all. It's been amazing, and it's been so lovely. There have been so many incredible people that have reached out along the way, even just like at the gym, just like a thumbs up, a nod, you know, you're doing great.
I
It's
love
lovely. And it takes so little to do, so little. And I think to your story today as to what you experienced,
it.
you know, it takes so much energy to be nasty and takes so little to be nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's weigh it up, gals. Let's weigh it up. And it's just so nice when women are nice to each other. You get a good feeling out of it. It's like, oh, my sis, she's being so kind. You know, like it's a nice thing. And I think we can all do it a little bit more. But I just thought I'd put that at the end because the sport you'd assume it would be like that. And it's absolutely nothing like that from what we've experienced. I haven't experienced anything, and I'm really out there and I speak my mind a lot. And I would assume that I'd probably get none of it. So it's really cool. And I think we can all just take on a little bit of more niceness in the world. We need it right now because it's a bit crazy out there, isn't it? It's a bit wild. But if we just be a little bit more kinder to each other, it'll be a lot easier to get around day to day, I think. So just wanted to touch on that really quick and how ironic it is that it's not in the sport, but it's in everyday life. It's just a little funny to me. But I think it's great. You and I have connected. A lot of the girls have connected, and we're all doing so well at just keeping that uplifting going. So we'll keep it going, won't we, Jess?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And like we love to see others succeed.
So
We
much.
do.
Yeah. Like we can't all win every day.
Well, exactly. And at the end of the day, if somebody walks on that stage and has that moment of, oh my gosh, like I did it. It's not a, oh, that should have been me. It's more of a, oh my gosh, yes, like
Yeah, like
well
you cry for it.
done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lovely. So it's something we can all just like keep an eye on and just make sure we're all being our kind selves out there, which we are, I'm sure. But that was all I had for you today, Jess. I did mention to you earlier that we might do a pod together in person after this season, and because we're both not competing, we're both watching. Maybe we could do a little cute little wrap up sort of episode. What do you reckon?
Oh, I'd be so keen to do that. We could go to a show and we could say what we saw, the experience, the athletes, how it went. I would love that.
Have some footage and stuff like that in the video. It'd be quite cool. So we'll tee out that. And if anyone's keen, drop it in the comments on YouTube or let us know just so that we know you're here for it. And it was great to chat to you, babe. I hope you have an awesome off season and a great year off. And I'm sure I'll see you around a lot. But I hope you do awesome this year, babe. It's so good to see you doing well.
Thank you. And likewise, it's so nice to see you growing and thriving and absolutely loving it as well. And so nice that we're on the same team.
Go with your victory. All right, honey. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow us or subscribe on YouTube, all of that good stuff. And we'll see you in the next episode, 30 weeks out, everyone. See you soon. Bye.